Okay, so one quite popular tool to actually see what happened on the blockchain is Etherscan. On Uniswap here, you will see a direct link to Etherscan here, but you can always access this from MetaMask here and then view on Block Explorer. Etherscan is a website for tracking Ethereum transactions. So here in our own transaction, you can see the transaction is confirmed with this amount of blocks, meaning there are now this amount of blocks in the current blockchain that come after the block that included this transaction here. And it also nicely shows you any transferred tokens, as well as the 1 Ether we transferred here. If you're wondering what this wrapped Ether here is, it's because Uniswap works only with ERC20 tokens, and Ether is not a token. So it's just a workaround to use Ether, basically. But don't worry, we will talk about ERC20 tokens later in detail. Etherscan is particularly useful for looking at the contract. So let's click here on the contract we just interacted with. Now, first you'll see all the transactions that were sent to this contract. And here under contract, you are able to see the source code. But let's go to the bottom of it first. Here's the raw bytecode, which means the raw executable code from the contract. And we can switch to opcode view. And now all of this here is basically the raw contract code. But yeah, you can see this is not understandable at all. That's why Etherscan allows for contract verification. So here under Verify Contract, for any contract you developed and deployed to the network, you can verify the contract directly on Etherscan using various methods. And usually the tools for deploying contracts also support this kind of verification on Etherscan automatically via plugins. And when you do this, you will be able to see the original Solidity code. And okay, you might be saying like, what? This is not readable either. But don't worry, at the end of this course, you will be able to understand this yourself. Verifying a contract is useful for the verifiability aspect of smart contracts. It's great to have the opcodes, but if nobody understands what they are doing, what's the point? So by having the source code here, anyone could verify themselves before calling any function what the code is doing. Another helpful feature for verified contracts is you can actually read the state here. So this shows you all the data that's currently stored in the contract, which in this case is mostly just addresses. And yes, you could even write to the contract, so sending a transaction to it like we did before. So you see here the multi-call that the Uniswap website was using. We can use it directly here, but of course now we have to understand what we are doing and what data is expected here. So Etherscan is a great tool to figure out what is happening on the blockchain, and also great to see the state of a contract or even sending transaction to it when you know what you're doing. But you see, etherscan.com is pretty centralized, of course. This is just a website with a centralized server. So while it's extremely useful, please don't rely on it too much for the sake of decentralization. And speaking of decentralization, this tool here, sourcify.dev, is a great way to remove some dependency of Etherscan. It allows for decentralized contract verification. How does this work? Well, the data is uploaded to IPFS, a decentralized file storage system. And you could either upload the data here, or some tools already do this automatically for you.